guys, welcome back to another episode of Chasing Leadville 100. We're getting ready for a trail run, so you're gonna come along with us. So let's get set up. Right, we have to register to make sure that if any of us gets hurt or lost, that they have full accountability. Okay. Vámonos. So we are currently at, I believe, like right around 10,500 feet, which is a starting elevation for Leadville. So we're only about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from our house. So super blessed to be able to be up here and train at elevation. But yeah, we're just gonna do a nice little loop trail, do some power hiking, do some running. And yeah, it's gorgeous. Kind of buggy, but gorgeous. So one of the things I think a lot of people underestimate in races like Leadville or other mountain races is elevation and how much of an effect it has on your body overall, your breathing, your nutrition, literally everything. And I've never raced obviously at 10,500, but coming from a mountaineering background and summiting big mountains like Rainier and other bigger volcanoes in high elevation mountains, is just knowing how that feels on my body. And I did Mount Whitney in May, actually, as you guys know. So I was at 14.5 for a long stretch of time. And I can tell you what, being at that elevation, coming off of an airplane, was definitely pretty shocking. So we're at 10.5, I definitely feel it, but I'm actually feeling okay because we've been training at elevation at above 10 twice a week pretty regularly. And that will only start to increase. So yeah, don't underestimate the elevation. Alright, so that wraps up our trail sesh. We hit around 8 miles, all over 10,000 elevation. So success was had. We did some power hiking, we did some running, but all in all, just super good to get our just mileage in general over the elevation. So loved it. So pretty. It's getting a little busy at the trail here too. So awesome. I've been asked to describe the origins of Unbreakable and how my mission to show you that you are unbreakable came to be. So this is that story. So I'm actually working on writing a book. So if I'm ever reading on my phone, this is the reason why. It's because I have some key points written down that I want to make sure I get across. So we can go back to the start of my cancer journey because truthfully, I believe that my purpose, my mission was forged during the deep darkness that was my cancer journey. When I was first diagnosed with cancer, I was serving active duty Army at the time, and honestly, I poured everything into my career. I'm someone who does everything with all of my might, and I found my career in the military to be the exact same way. I was so motivated by the opportunity to show up with merit and physical performance and truthfully just pure effort that serving the military was so in line with my overall personality and the things that I wanted in this world. I joined the military because truthfully I wanted to be part of something that was bigger than myself. I wanted to serve a greater mission, and I found that while I was serving. And when I was first diagnosed, it was such a whirlwind. And when I say that I felt like my life came to a halting stop, it absolutely did. I was getting my team ready to deploy. We were on constant missions. I mean, it was nonstop, and I felt like my diagnosis just completely halted my life. I went in one day to get my initial tumor removed, and then it was 3 months later when I was told that my cancer had metastasized and that I needed to go into further surgery and start my journey of chemotherapy. And that was my first cancer diagnosis. And truthfully, when I initially was diagnosed, I kind of disassociated from the diagnosis. It was something that I was like, oh, well, this is kind of a later me issue. And it was something that I thought that I could just kind of like forget about and continue working and pushing through. And it wasn't until COVID also happened within the same exact time frame that I was forced to sit down with my diagnosis and really get real with what was happening. And I have this quote from my book that I'm writing, and I have to read it to you because I think that it's so relevant. The quote says, "In life, we are often separated, isolated, and removed from portions of our identity, not to be punished, but to be gifted an opportunity to evolve, serve, and build the tools we need to step into our greatness and into our purpose." And truthfully, I felt like I needed to be completely removed from my military identity, from my athletic identity, to truly understand what I was being gifted and what my actual purpose was in this life. Obviously, I found purpose in my military career, but it wasn't until my cancer diagnosis that I realized how truthfully fragile life is and how important it is to invest our time and our energy into goodness and to helping others and to serving and to truly live. And in my book, I talk a lot about the difference between truly living and just existing. And it's something that I talk about on Instagram as well, of that so many people on this earth are walking, talking, breathing, eating, existing, but they're not living. They're going to day as if every single day forward is going to be promised, and that you can always wait until tomorrow to chase your dreams or to make a difference or to be kind to others or to try something new. And I'm here to tell you that all of our days are limited, and my experience with cancer just taught me that anything can happen at any moment, and that our youthfulness and our young age is such an absolute gift. And to have to face something like cancer so young and my mortality so young really was a gift and an opportunity to help others. So this is the start of Unbreakable. This will lead to your demise was what my doctor told me when I was first diagnosed with metastatic cancer. I was sat down after my surgery and was told straight to the face, this will lead to your demise. And it's definitely not something that I would wish upon anyone, and I truthfully don't know if that's the right verbiage that I would use as a doctor. But he then proceeded to tell me that I would never run or hike again, and that this was going to be a career-ending surgery and diagnosis. The two surgeons who worked on me removed a top portion of my foot, they removed part of my ankle, and then they removed lymph nodes in my groin. And as someone who prioritized fitness so much in the military, because truthfully it was why I got where I could in the military, was based on my athletic performance, my merit, and my effort, I felt just absolutely demoralized. There is nothing worse to a high-performing soldier than being told that you can't perform any longer. And I was on a pair of crutches for 6 months. I was non-weight bearing for 6 months. I was on bed rest for a long period of time. And in that time, I felt all of the weight of my career and the success and the effort that I put forth kind of sit on my chest. It felt like I put all this effort into this, and now it's going to be gone in an instant. But it wasn't until I started my chemo that I really was able to understand what being unbreakable meant. And chemo truthfully feels like fighting against an opponent that is way out of your weight class, that is fully armed, and you're truthfully just up against him with your bare hands. And when I say that I don't wish chemo upon my worst enemy, I mean it wholeheartedly. It was such a painful and isolating and horrible experience. But going through chemo is what slowed me down and allowed me to look at my life inwardly and understand that this whole thing was a gift. It was something to teach me about life and something to force me to look at life as if it was so limited and truthfully live each day as if it was my last. And that leads me to another portion of my book. It's talking about warriors. And in my book, I describe 3 different types of fighters, and to me, the warrior is the unbreakable. And in order to be a warrior, there are several components that you have to identify with and have to practice each day. And one of those things that I want to talk about today is doing hard things. Truthfully, there's a lot of psychological evidence behind doing hard things and teaching yourself, your brain, your body that you are capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. And I talk about that a lot on my page, and it's something that truthfully allowed me to overcome a diagnosis that I was told I would never overcome. After I was told I would never run or hike again, I took it on as a personal mission to prove to myself and to others that I would do the very thing that they told me I would never be able to do. As soon as I was off of my crutches, I was on the treadmill, practicing what a regular walking motion felt like, and within 6 months, I found myself on the trail. I went from literally hiking 0.01 miles, just a few steps up a trail, to now training for a 100-mile race. And one of the big reasons why I think doing hard things is so important in the process of becoming a warrior is because you have to build confidence in yourself and in your capabilities. And the only way to build confidence is to do the very thing that challenges you. You cannot build confidence by willing yourself into it. You cannot build confidence by truthfully just manifesting it. You have to do the thing that scares you, and you have to do the thing that you have the desire to be good at. You have to practice. Just like playing baseball when I was a kid, it was important for me to practice as a pitcher because the only way to get better at something was through repetition, and this is no different. In order to build confidence, you have to do the very thing that you are terrified of. And that is what I consistently did after my surgeries and going through chemotherapy. Within 6 months of getting myself back onto trail, I summited Mount Rainier. And I did so in one day, which most people take 3 days and a guide service to get them up Mount Rainier, but I was able to do it in one day. So if that's not a testimony of mental and physical strength, then I don't know what is. And I think this whole process allowed me to really understand what being unbreakable meant. But I don't think I truly lived this through until I was diagnosed with my secondary cancer and went through more surgeries and more chemotherapy for my secondary cancer. And I don't say this for shock factor or to make you feel bad for me by any means, but each thing that was thrown at me, I viewed as another opportunity to grow and learn and evolve and step into my greater purpose. Why me is the question a lot of fighters ask themselves. But warriors ask themselves, what is this lesson going to teach me? Warriors understand that life does not happen to them, it happens for them. And obstacles placed in their path are to serve a greater purpose, to make an impact and to serve as a light to those who've been living in darkness. After my secondary cancer diagnosis, I have since climbed 30 of Washington's highest, most technical peaks. I have won several Spartan races and rode half marathons, and most recently, the 50K here in Utah. I raced in my first Ironman with 0 previous swim experience and qualified for Ironman World Championships in Kona, and have now stepped into my ultramarathon career, having raced 50-miler in March, and am currently training to run 100 miles at the Leadville 100. Doing hard things daily is a requirement for becoming a warrior and being unbreakable. Drowning yourself in comfort will keep you stuck in places you don't want to be, stuck in mindsets you want to outgrow, and stuck in the monotony of a lifeless existence. You need to shake things up. You need to agitate, climb out, and ignite a fire inside of yourself to keep your soul warm and your mind in control. You don't need to run 100 miles to become a warrior, and you surely don't have to wait for a diagnosis to find out that you are unbreakable. But you do need to chase hard things in your life consistently, and not just for a season. This is a lifelong commitment, a lifelong journey, whether that's training in the gym, practicing BJJ, cold plunging, writing a book, picking up a new skill, or hitting the trails. Choosing your hard now will prepare you for the inevitable hard you don't get to choose. My mission to show you that you are unbreakable has started from a really dark place, but my hope is that in sharing my story, I can help you in your journey to becoming unbreakable and becoming a warrior in your own life. I hope that helped to clear some things up for y'all, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe and like this video. It really does help me out. And until next time, you're unbreakable.